Today I want to talk about my top 5 tandems that I'm looking forward to watching play in 2021, and all it's coming up after the bumper.
Don't be cornering me. Hold up. Time. You gotta help me with that corner shit.
What's up, kidfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. It's always college football related, sports related. We have a good time. Today, I want to talk about my top 5 tandems that I'm looking forward to watching in the 2021 season. Start with some honorable mentions here. I'm not necessarily counting out JT Daniels and what George Pickens might be able to accomplish, but I did see enough of JT Daniels to know, A, he can throw the football around, and B, he needs to learn how to read coverage just a little bit better. And we know that if George Pickens is not squirting water at opposing opponents, or at opponents, I should say, not opposing, whatever, at opponents, then yeah, they ought to be pretty good. But you also add in guys like, well, Dominique Blaylock coming back and Kyrus Jackson, and they ought to be good. Another honorable mention here would probably be C.J. Stroud or Jack Miller or Kyle McCord. And Garrett Wilson, not so much Chris Olave. I know Chris Olave is great, but I think Garrett Wilson is the better talent, and he'd be the guy that I want to pair with whomever the Ohio State quarterback is. I realize that there are a lot of people that are already projecting C.J. Stroud to be that guy because he feels like a Justin Fields light, a Justin Fields clone. So if that's what you want, that's what you want, but they're not on my top 5 list because, well, I didn't think that Georgia was that good to make it in the top 5, even with JT Daniels and George Pickens. And I don't know who the starting quarterback is for Ohio State. You can make that argument for one other tandem that I have here, but I'm just not confident in just straight out picking C.J. Stroud in February the way that many people are. Because Jack Miller's there and because Kyle McCord is there, and I think Ryan Day actually wants to see which one of these guys turns out to be the dude. All right, so number 5, I got Bryce Young and John Mechie III. Bryce Young is the heir apparent to Mac Jones, so much so that we saw him play the most of any other quarterback not named Mac Jones in 2020. And I don't think that Paul Tyson is going to be able to be that guy, and I don't think Jalen Milroe is going to get the redshirt year. John Mechie is the heir apparent to that wide receiving core, not unlike Jalen Waddle was last year or year before last. Like, we're talking all this about Henry Ruggs and Jerry Jeudy, and there was Jalen Waddle right there, along with a Devontae Smith. This year, I feel like John Mechie is that guy after being basically that slot dude, that capstone receiver, and the heir apparent on the outside. They're going to be a lot of fun. We'll see if Christian Leary or Ja'Cory Brooks or Jai Hall work themselves into the rotation, but Bryce Young is a tremendous talent. I can't wait to watch him play in Bill O'Brien's offense. Number 4, D'Eriq King and Charleston Rambo. D'Eriq King was the best quarterback with the worst receivers last year. Add Charleston Rambo to the mix, you got a guy that can throw the ball deep to a dude that specializes in deep balls. Now, you might also think that Rambo is not that great a dude, especially after coming off the last year where he had transfer, but that's a good thing for Oklahoma and a good thing for Charleston Rambo. Did not have the 2020 that he wanted to have. I understand how some OU fans think that he just drops passes. I don't. I think that Rambo is a dude. I believe in Rambo the way I believed in Kenneth Murray Jr., and Kenneth Murray Jr. ended up being the first defensive draft pick for Oklahoma since Gerald McCoy. And that was after years of OU fans telling me, I don't know what I'm talking about Kenneth Murray. Ends up being one of the best linebackers in the country. All right. I'm all in on Charleston Rambo and D'Eriq King. At number 3, DJ Uiagalelei and Justin Ross. Now, this is all contingent on Justin Ross being cleared to play football, but we know what it is with Uiagalelei, right? 439 against Notre Dame with 2 tutties. Brought Clemson from 18 points down to beat Boston College at home as a true freshman. And I think Ross adds a dimension to their passing attack that they're going to need. With Amari Rodgers being gone, Cornell Powell being gone, you're going to need those guys to step up in a tremendous way. And it would be great if you had one of the best wide receivers in the country 2 years ago back as your number 1 option. Number 2 on the list, I got Spencer Rattler and Marvin Mims, the only 2 freshman All-American tandem, or I should say the only freshman All-American tandem on this list. Rattler is going into a magic year. Mims broke out in the way that I thought that Rambo would last year. Tremendous season for the true freshman, and we could have predicted it, but we didn't. Like, we all thought that Marvin Mims was good because he broke the career receiving record in Texas and set the national single-season receiving record in Texas with Frisco. And know that they're coming back, and you got Jaden Hazelwood, Theo Weiss, Trajan Bridges, and even more weapons for Rattler to throw to. I'm still excited about Rattler and Marvin Mims. And then number 1, I'm very excited about what Casey Thompson and Bijan Robinson might be. Now, I'm sure there's a Texas fan out there that's like, Hudson Card exists, RJ. I'm sure he does. But Casey Thompson was the guy that went in when Sam Ehlinger went out, and Casey Thompson threw like 4 touchdown passes in one half. And Bijan Robinson basically averaged 18 yards per carry over the last like 3 games. That man was a monster. Knowing what Steve Sarkisian did with Mac Jones and Najee Harris in 2020, knowing what he did with Tua Tagovailoa in 2019, and then Mac Jones late, knowing that this guy has been really great at development of quarterbacks and really running what I thought was a pretty cool offense that got a lot of different tools involved, from wide receivers in little bubble routes to Najee Harris running the ball between the tackles, catch the ball out of the backfield. I think that looking at what Casey Thompson can do as a passer and what he can do as a runner, you're going to see him be leaps and bounds better than Sam Ehlinger. I thought for years that, at least the last 2, Thompson was a better quarterback than Sam Ehlinger. Perhaps Sam Ehlinger was a better leader. But we could say the same thing about Baker Mayfield. He's probably a better leader, even as a Heisman Trophy winner, than Kyler Murray. But Kyler Murray is far and away the better athlete and the better quarterback. I think that going into this first season with so much talent, but also so much coaching turnover, you're going to lean on Casey Thompson and Bijan Robinson to run that Texas offense. Those are my top 5 tandems that I'm looking forward to. I know there are a couple others that people have been sort of high on. We'll see what develops, like Breece Hall and Brock Purdy. I think Brock Purdy is hitting the ceiling. I don't think there's a whole lot for him to do there. But Breece Hall was the first unanimous All-American in Iowa State history, and we know that they're going to be a running team with him in the backfield, run a little inside-outside zone. They're more of an outside zone type of team, and I'm excited to see what he looks like. Outside of that, right, I want to see who pops, right? Can Graham Mertz and Jalen Berger do something special at Wisconsin? That's going to be really fun to see. I also asked the question, who's going to come out of Florida, right? I think with Emory Jones, you got an opportunity to pair him with someone that could be really good. Maybe it's DeMarcus Bowman, right? Maybe it's Eric Gilbert. We'll see. But like Emory Jones, Eric Gilbert could be a lot of fun. All right, that is it for me. Deuces.